to have got the opportunity to organize the webinar and to have received an overwhelming response from you all. On an outset, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Anil M. Bisen sir, Provost, ITM Vocational University, for always being the guiding star and for being the source of energy and enthusiasm for all our endeavor. I also take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the organizing team of this webinar, as well as everyone associated with the ITM Vocational University for helping our efforts to take shape. I would like to now introduce all the participants to the dynamic leader of ITM Vocational University, Dr. Anil Bisen, sir. Sir has over 8 years of experience in education, and since last 12 years, sir is into the university education management. Sir has a number of books to his credit on various topics, including engineering drawing, theory of machine, advanced manufacturing process, engineering drawing, mechanical engineering drawing, industrial organization and management, machine drawing, and various other. Sir is also associated with more than 15 international journals as a member on a review editorial advisory board and technical committee. So I request Dr. Anil M. Bisen, sir, to address the participant.
Yeah, thank you, Swati. I guess I am audible to you all.
Yes.
Okay. So I welcome you all onto our webinar series. Uh, so good morning to all Indian participant and very good evening to those are joined us from US. When I'm going through all the list, I have seen not only from the ITM, but there are a lot of people who have joined from Nagpur, Raipur, then in Jaipur and many parts of this country. So on the behalf of this ITM Vocational University, I welcome you all onto this particular platform. Uh, in the month of this lockdown period, about 2 months from the May and to the June, we have conducted about 20 webinars. This includes that we have started one of the series, and I say that the learner should be always a learner. Though it is a new platform to many of you, and we have not thought of that we maybe go on to this online particular platform. But I'm very fortunate that I have got a good support from my team, and they have taken up to the next level. And in that way, this is our 20th webinar which we are conducting today. So we have conducted onto the short-term training programs, then faculty development programs, and other programs or other webinars which is related with the different departments. I was very keen to these two webinars. And in fact, this is my personal interest into the webinar which is related with the IoT, and second one is to the machine learning. So when we discuss about this particular webinar, so I'm very much touched with Mr. Anusareen and Mr. Yadav, and I'm very thankful to these two gentlemen for their kind help, and then I appreciate that they have taken an interest into that, and they are ready to take up to this particular platforms to the new generation. So machine learning, I'm just telling you, though I'm a mechanical engineer and practicing a lot of things and all, I will tell you one of the practical example. The last week, when I'm visiting one of the industry over here, and our 4 or 5 students are doing the projects. So the owner of this industry, I know him. We have met in one of the platform. So then he requested me that what is actually the vocational part is, and how you are doing it and all. So I explained a lot of things. Then I said, can you allow us to just have an inspection to your industry? So he welcomed us, and then when we have gone through their whole process, so one of the automation they have finalized. So it's a group of 4 students. One is from mechanical, one is from the computer science, and one is from electrical and electronic side, like this. So After that, the process was, we have observed the whole process, that we have suggested something. And then actually we have implemented the machine learning platform over there. So even we have taken help from one of the expert, and our student has successfully done it. So in that machine learning, we have used our supervised learning. So there are three types, which I guess it is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. So supervised learning we have feed into the machine, and finally we got good results. And everything is now onto the automation platform. So then after that, I'm very keen that everybody should understand, not only the computer science engineering students, but all the students of all the fields, they should understand what is actually the machine learning and IoT is. In IoT part also, I have said that it is not only limited to the computer science engineering, but it is definitely related to all the engineering fields. Even for the management students also can go for the machine learning and IoT part, because this technologies has developed a lot and changed the whole life of ours. Day to day, you can observe, daily life also, you can observe that machine learning plays a very important role into your daily lives. So being an engineer, being the student of vocational university or any other university, you should have that particular competitive knowledge into your career, so that you can boost up your career. Because what actually is happening, that when you go into the industry, you cannot say I'm a mechanical engineer, I cannot do any electronics part, or I cannot go for the automation, or if I am a computer science engineer and I cannot do this, that, you cannot do that, because you have to do it, and you have to develop your expertise into that. So these platforms, when you learn all these things, so then and then only it is possible that you can achieve that particular part. So I hope that I must thanks to Mr. Yadav for giving a time to us, and then we definitely want that in the long association with him, and hopefully this is our again a duty to uh, you know encourage our young generation engineering students, and to share our knowledge. This is our actually the duty. Whatever you have gained into last years as an experience, so you have to share your experience so that the young generation can understand. They learn a lot from there. So I'm very much thankful to him that he has taken a time, and then he has spared a lot of time with us, and then finally he is coming up with the webinar. I don't take in so much time because already we are late, and I'm very sorry that I've joined very 5 minutes late. So I'm very sorry for that, and hope that we will enjoy today's session. So again, once again, I'm very thankful to all the participants and showing the interest over here, and then special thanks to Mr. Anuj and Mr. Yadav. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Today we have the presence of an eminent speaker who would shed light on the machine learning with Azure, Mr. Mahesh Yadav. Mr. Mahesh Yadav is a product manager at Microsoft. He uses technology to build the product that make life easier. Having 14 years of experience in developing machine learning, AI, and cellular stack product, having more than 14 patents on his name. So, sir, I request you take the charge of the session. Mr. Mahesh.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think we are all set. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
And we can get started. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we can get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Provost Sir. And thank you, Swati, for arranging this session, giving me the opportunity to talk to all of you. I'm humbled by the opportunity and the way you guys have shown interest in Microsoft as well as Azure and machine learning, which is very dear and near to my heart and one of my passions, which I bring to this job and I try to bring to everybody through these sessions. So thank you, first of all, for the opportunity. And without further delay, let's get started. So what are we going to do today? Uh, Please let me know if you can't hear me, raise your hands. We will take questions in the end. That's it. So let's get started. So what are we going to do? Here is the agenda. First, we will look about like why you need to worry about this, right? What is cloud? What is Azure? How it delivers value, and why you need to worry about, or why you need to learn all this, right? And then we'll discuss general machine learning. It need not to be on Azure. I will talk about machine learning and what it is and why is it important and how it works. Let me stand. So uh, then we will talk about machine learning on Azure. Azure is Microsoft Cloud. We call it the world's computer because this is where we allow everybody to have compute and storage so that we can bring all the data together. And then we will talk about how you can use Azure machine learning and AI for your own ideas. And then we will talk about how can you deploy your own models or your AI on the edge or in cloud. And then in the end, we will talk about how can you build such machine learning models that scale across companies. I will introduce all the tool set that Microsoft offers across this journey. So without further delay, let's get started. We have a lot to cover. If you feel bored, take a nap. It's late here in US, but I think it's morning for you. So don't take a nap, take a coffee. Okay. I hope it's not that boring. So I was thinking about this session and I was thinking like, okay, what a good aim would be, right? So the session is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, my aim is that in the end, you should be able to update your CV or your LinkedIn profile and claim that you know machine learning. And you can answer basic questions on machine learning. That's my first aim. My second aim is that in the second session, if you spend another 20 minutes with me, my aim is that you will be able to have your own startup and build on something. Or you can join a big machine learning company. I will give you enough to be able to do that. Third is the hardest part, which is I will introduce you to all the tool chain that allows you to create machine learning products that will scale across regions and across boundaries and serve humanity. So this is a larger aim, but I thought, why not, right? Why not aim for the biggest? So if you spend 20 minutes, you're gonna be able to do all this. So that's our aim, that's our journey, and you will see us walking through this journey going forward. Okay, so getting started. So I'm just going to throw 2 numbers at you to start with. There will be 50 billion connected devices by 2030. And 90% of the data that got created in the world was created in last 2 years. What that means is, let me put things in perspective, right? There are like 1 billion PCs in the world. Around 2 billion devices. There are 2 billion devices that are in the world, right? The phones are there in the world, right? My phone just acknowledged that by ringing. So there are 2 billion. Where are the rest of devices are going to come from? These are the small devices. Anuj took a session on IoT devices. If you look at just the microcontroller, which Anuj is passionate about. Anuj is my friend who took another session before this on IoT. And if you look at that, right, there are 9 billion microcontroller which ship every year. And they are getting connected to cloud. And they are generating the data we are looking at. So there is a lot of data out there. And what this data brings to us, right? Why this is the time for data. If you look back, right, when I look through history, right? So what happens is every 10 years, there is a shift in technology and that creates new companies. If you look like 90s, right? 1980 to 1990, Microsoft came up with this idea. Bill Gates came up with this idea where he said, oh, I'm writing all these drivers in DOS, but I can create an operating system rather than rewriting every time. I can put them as a package and operating system was born. That business made him the richest man in the world, right? So from 10 years, and then 1990 World Wide Web came along and you see companies like Google made a lot of money, a lot of assets and served us all by helping us search through that web. And then that became so hard. The problem became so hard. Now it's hard to search anything, right? And Apple came with iPhone. And I think what made iPhone an iPhone is the App Store. So now the developer said, oh, you're having hard time finding you're looking for. So here is my app. And you started using that app. You call it anything. There is an app for everything in the world. And that made Apple what it is today. And then you look at next 10 years, the era we are in, and the data that you're looking in this slide is making cloud that thing. The cloud for the last 10 years, if you look like the growth of Azure and growth of Amazon, that's the narrative there, that there is enough data and the data is moving to cloud. And that's the era we are looking into. I should take another session on what next 10 years should look like. But that's what you're sitting on right now. That's where the opportunities are. Maximum opportunities for your career, for anybody on this technology space are in cloud, because 50 billion devices and 90% data. And you will see it's going to grow exponentially next year too. So why? What are we going to do? Why is cloud so important, right? So what cloud does is cloud is fundamentally different from World Wide Web. World Wide Web, what it does, it scatters your data. And then there are companies which advertise on it. And if you try to search anything, they throw things at you that they want you to do. While cloud is fundamentally different, it allows organizations, people, and everybody to gather their own data at one place. And you will ask, like, why would I get my data at one place, Mahesh, right? What is the reason? Because if you have all your data, machine learning allows you to find patterns in that data. And if you take it to the next level, what AI does to it, it makes your data actionable. As our pro-host sir said, that in the beginning, he's talked about supervised learning. To do supervised learning, you needed data, because you tell the machine, okay, this is this thing, and you need a lot of that data. That data is telling the machine that this is this thing. So you need that, and AI makes it actionable. So when you take that data, machine learning patterns, and you apply them and automate your manufacturing process, that becomes the AI. And IoT just takes it to the next level. It starts giving cloud the data that's good, is in the format that it can be consumed by the machine learning and AI. And this loop is what is empowering the biggest revolution, like the fourth revolution, which they talk about these days. Like, that's on your screen right now. So if you're going to take one thing away from this presentation, this is it. You need to gather your data at one place. You need to learn machine learning. You need to make it actionable. You need to find devices, connect them in your ecosystem, wherever you are. And if you can build this, this is it. This is your job. So please take this away and find a problem, gather data, build machine learning models, infuse it into IoT, and you can get started. So let's start the first one. So what is machine learning, right? So let's take a quick tutorial, because I was talking to Swati yesterday, and she told me that, that Mahesh, most of these are engineers. So I'm going to take this risk with you. Generally, I don't take this risk, but I'm going to walk you through a bit depth of machine learning. So rather than talking like basics of machine learn, there are algorithms, there are deep neural network. I think you can watch them on YouTube. There are plenty of things out there. I'm going to walk you through like how you build a traditional machine learning model. So let's go to this link. I love the work they have done. They've done some awesome graphic work, and I'm going to walk you through. So if you guys are in, please focus. It's going to take 5 minutes or 7 minutes, but I think you will learn new things. And this is what allow you to achieve your first goal, which is now you can say, I know machine learning. And if you can just take these terms and take notes and speak of these notes next time you meet somebody, they will assume that you know machine learning. So what is machine learning? Machine learning is a statistical, machine learning is when computers apply statistical mathematics, basically, to find patterns in the data. And how they do that, let's learn it. So imagine that you are given data about houses in San Francisco and New York. These are two cities in United States on the One is on the East Coast, one is on the West Coast. I think you all know about it. Swati ma'am confirmed that. So I will assume it. And what they do is, if you look at this data, right, your job is to tell me, if I give you a house data, your job as a machine is, you need to train a model whose job is to tell whether the house is in San Francisco or New York. And in machine learning, we call this, because you are classifying here or yes or no, it's a classification problem. So that's a classification problem, right? And if you look at this data, right, you already see there is a pattern here, which a human can easily see, which is that if you put a bar here, like around 239 feet, all the houses above that, because San Francisco is a hilly area, all the houses above that are in San Francisco. So easy enough, right? So you can do for this. But what about these houses? For that, you need to learn more. So how are you going to learn more? So let's put this data, and that's what stats do, right? They try to put data into different ways and try to find patterns in that data. So now they have put it in a scattered plot graph. On left-hand side, I'm showing you the elevation. So you're looking at from 0 feet to 740 feet, 748 feet. Here you're looking at the prices per square feet. So now we have taken another aspects of the data. And these are called features in machine learning. So first thing we talked about was maths. Now we are looking at different dimensions. And if we have to find patterns, now we are looking at two things. So these are the two features. One is the feature is that you are looking at the height where the house is. And the second, you are looking at the price per square feet. So now you're looking at another pattern right here, which is that if the price is above 1900 or so, basically above this point, you can say the houses are in New York because New York is an expensive place. And if you are gonna, now you have one more angle to this, right? So now you just look at this, all these houses above this elevation are here and rest of them are here. So far following with me, say yes. Thank you. I will just assume yes, because this is webinar, right? But now you're looking like how you can just take new features into account and how machine can figure this out. Now let's look at like, there you don't need machine learning right now. It's an if and else loop so far. If I give you just two features, you could have done this. But the hard part is right here, right? How are you going to distinguish these houses, right? And that's where machine learning comes in, right? So we're going to take 7 different dimensions. And if you're going to find 7 different dimensions, there are patterns in those dimensions also, like number of bathrooms, bedroom, price, square feet, price per square feet, year built, elevation. And there are patterns, but they're not as easy as the rest ones are. They are more intermingled. And that's where the biggest problem of data is. And that's where machines are good at. So let's look at how a machine learning will solve it. So there is a method in machine learning called decision tree. And decision tree look at a variable at a time, and then they try to put a parameter and say, if, so let's do this, right? Let's quickly do this. So this was our data. Let's put it in a histogram. So rather than putting it up there in points, what I have done is I have put histogram, and this histogram says these many houses are here. If this is the height, mostly this height has most of the New York houses. So height and number of houses, and green, San Francisco, blue, New York. And now what decision tree does is it just puts if and then loops, right? So it tries to decide on one point and try to take left or right, right? Simple if then. If you know computer science, or if you have done programming, if then is a loop where you can say a condition and then you go one side or the other. That's what you're taking, decision tree. So you're deciding. So what now you can do is you can decide a point, and that's where statistics and math is applied. And these are called forks, right? And then the 2 branches. So you can fork the data, and if you fork it here, right, at 200, 400, 242 feet, you're going to get all the right ones correct, right? So here you are very good. But if you, here you are saying everything on the right is San Francisco, everything on the left is New York. But if you do that, on the left-hand side, you see that I have characterized 92 houses in San Francisco as New York. So my model is only 63% correct. So all these 37% times I'm wrong. So where to put this split point, right? That's the magic, right? So that's where the math and statistical method come in. So I can put it right here and I can say, oh, by the way, every house is a San Francisco house. That is my data set. And now I'm as good as my data set. So there is no machine learning. This is anybody could have done it. So if I just said every house is a San Francisco house, 139 houses, 56% correct. But then if you apply real good math and statistics, you can find a good number. And that split point for you would be 91.9. There, if you look at, you're 82% correct. You're characterizing some of them wrong here. So now this is not perfect. 6 houses are characterized as New York, while left, you're doing much better. So now on the left, you are just doing 40 wrong. You already have a split, which is 82% correct. Now, if you take this and if you can apply recursion, which machines are, by the way, awesome at, and we hate that as humans because we don't want to do repeated tasks. If I tell you 2 plus 2, keep writing this 2 plus 2 equals to 4, 2 plus 2 equals to 4. Again and again, you will hate me for the rest of your life. But machines do recursion all the time for the rest of their lives. So what the ML does is they take that logic, that split, and gonna apply that again and again and refine your data. So it's gonna take this much and then find another split point, another split point. It's gonna give you a model. So now you have a model which is 82% correct. And you can do this split now, and you can take the first one on elevation, second one on price per square foot, and you can apply different prices. So here you can say that the prices on the right-hand side, San Francisco side, would be different and at different split. So using recursion, you applied a different split here and different split here. And if you did the correctly, even the first one, you have gone your accuracy to 84%. And if you continue that, adding layers and add layers, and you do that until you get 100% accuracy. So far, what you learned is statistics, machine learning is a way to apply recursion. Decision tree is a method which you use to do this, and your model is 100% accurate, right? So now you are looking at, now you are doing your training data where you know, right, where you already know these houses are in San Francisco or New York. You put that data in your split, and if you do that, here is your model, which is 100% accurate. And now the reality check. Now you're going to show this machine learning model some data that it has never seen. And if you do that, your test accuracy reduces to 89.8%. And that's the process of overfitting, which you are learning now, because your data is not doing the right split. It has just trained on what you told it to. So this is an overfitted model. What that means is that it will do awesome on your test, on your training data, but if you feed a new data, it will not do as good. And that's the job of a machine learning engineer or a data scientist, to reduce overfitting and actually find the real split, not the split which gives the best result on a training data. So I have introduced you to everything I could in 10 minutes, and we're going to use these. So to summarize, machine learning is no magic. It's statistical mathematics applied, which helps you find boundaries in your data. There's one technique I talk about, which was decision tree. And there was one problem with always a data. You can always ask this question. So if you are in a big conference and if anybody talks about a big ML algorithm, ask him like, hey, how are you handling overfitting? And everybody will think you know things. So this was my little tip to you. And that's all I'm going to talk about machine learning in general as a technique, right? So this was a quick tutorial on machine learning. I hope it was helpful. So we're going to continue next, and I'm going to go back to my slides. So that was machine learning. You learned what is how machines do work on features. So all those 7 things were featured, like prices, square, number of bathrooms, number of floors, prices per square foot. Those are the features. And then we trained the model to find a split on each. And we did it, we keep on adding layers till we find the best, like 100%. So I hope you learned something new. I hope I touched on something that will help you as we continue this presentation, or you continue your journey on machine learning going forward. So now I'm going to talk about like what Microsoft is doing. And this session is, the next few slides are on that. You remember Pac-Man? I think most of you must have played it. I was a fan of this game when I was in college because I was like playing it because it gives me a sense of accomplishment. I was doing something. So if you look at this, this is a computer playing Pac-Man, and how this is a company, Malibu, which Microsoft bought in 2016, I believe, 17 to be precise. And what it does is they have trained this model where all these, and this is the second technique in machine learning, where we are applying reinforcement learning. And all those dots are basically agents for us. They give us input, and same as the ghosts, and same as the fruit, and same as the ghost that you can eat and be super powerful, right? All these are giving inputs to a master algorithm, and this algorithm takes their input and make one decision, which is that, hey, take a left or a right. And every time it does a wrong decision, we give him a negative value. Every time it takes a right decision, we give him positive. We trained it and they trained it. And the score they have is 4 times the highest score achieved by humans. So this is what machines are good at, right? They can continue playing this game. They can continue improving. And that's what you get. Now let's talk about why I am in this session and why are you listening to us? Because Microsoft has a long history of research. We have 28 years of research history. We have labs. This is Microsoft Research Labs across the world. And I think this only MSR lab outside Redmond, the first MSR lab outside the US was in India. That was in Hyderabad. I think there is another one. I know now there is another one in Bangalore. So India, Microsoft has invested a lot because the best talent is there. And other labs also. That means we have 1,000 or more researchers in 20 fields. We have 4,000 or more patents, and there are 22 key papers. And out of these, there are 4,000 papers just dedicated to machine learning and AI, which is like 4 times from our nearest competitor. So that's what makes Azure, or what you're going to see, so powerful. So why we invested so much, what we are going to get. What we get out of these researchers is we have human parity. This is you saying that machines are able to do the same job as good as humans can. And first thing we have is object recognition. So this is a vision technique where you look at something and you can say this is a person or not. Microsoft did that in 2016 with COCO dataset, with the ResNet 152 layer network. So amazing job. We did that. Speech recognition, reading comprehension, machine translation, speech synthesis. And I'm going to touch upon these in the coming slide. But Microsoft, even 2020, that's the latest thing we have done, which is document summary, which is very, very hard. But now we can do that. So looking at that, right? So just take an example of that, which is like, okay, we can do object detection. We can find humans, we can find skateboard. You can train on any object now, and computer can actually see in that picture and say, okay, this is that. I'm going to talk about how we apply that, right? So Chevron or Shell is a major customer. Chevron also comes later in slides. So Shell is a major Microsoft Azure customer. And if you look at that, they have like stores everywhere. And I know India also has a lot of Shell stores. So they wanted to make them safe. I'm going to roll a video where they're going to talk about how they have done it. If you can't hear, Swati, let me know. But I hope you all can hear and see this video while I take a water break. Okay.
Okay.
Rolling video, 1, 2, 3. I hope it comes up. 1. Okay.
Retail is a key engine of the Shell Group. We have 30 million customers every day in one of our branded stations, somewhere along the world. We are in over 70 markets.
Shell's retail goal for safety is linked to Goal Zero, making sure that every visit to every site is done in a safe way and our customers and our staff are safe at all times. Our retail sites are exposed to safety risks ranging from vehicle hitting someone, theft, smoking, also things like wrong refueling behaviors.
Being able to detect those in near time and potentially intervene could be very, very beneficial for us. Historically, we haven't been able to analyze our video footage in its entirety. It's very manually labor intensive to try to analyze the hours of CCTV footage that we capture on our retail sites every day. With computer vision, we can take observations in our physical assets and we can straight away derive insight from them. We've developed a collection of machine learning models that operate both at the edge and in the cloud. We can identify events of interest at the edge in near time. We can pass those into the cloud for type processing, and we can use the cloud to provide near time alerting. The Azure cloud is powering this transformation. We're now able to take a lot of the platform as a service offerings that Azure gives us, things like IoT Hub and Azure Databricks, combine them with open source technology like TensorFlow and Kafka, and bring that together into a solution quickly. What deep learning gives us is the ability to firstly filter that footage and find events that might be interesting for people to review more closely. But it also allows us to use that same information as labeled footage to train our algorithms and continuously improve.
Instead of a snapshot after an event, it would be a 24/7 ongoing, near real-time data feed that will help us conduct our operations far more safely. And that's wonderful.
The insights we're getting from this gives the service champion a third pair of eyes, which we didn't have before.
We're right at the early stages of the pilot. If we can leverage this technology at scale, we can start to change the way that we do business. And that means making things more effective, reducing cost, and also improving safety. And that's great for us. It's a huge opportunity.
Engine A.
Linked to Goal.
Hi, I hope you can still hear me. So you saw, right, how we have taken what a basic vision object detection, and then a company has taken that and solved a real problem. And same is about speech, right? Speech recognition, like you can identify speech, and you see like us in IBM were playing this game for a while, and we started on this with the switchboard as a data set where which gives you a lot of samples, and you need to find like, is this what is said? And IBM did this very cool thing. We in 2016 did it, and that's human parity. So human make the same mistake when given speech recognition task. What is Microsoft does with switchboard now? What this means is, so I'm gonna play an audio. So just bring this to life. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a audio, and I will ask you what she said, because that's the switchboard data set. I've just taken, that's exactly what the machine is asked, right? So machine was given the same problem, and machine was supposed to come up with us by listening and figuring out what the words are. So I'm going to give you the same problem. This is one of the problem from the switchboard data set. What that means is there are a lot of voices like this in that data set. And then this is the number where Microsoft has got it wrong. 64% time Microsoft solution got these things right. So I'm going to play that. Please listen carefully. I'm going to ask you questions.
That's how ours is.
So she said something. Can you tell me what she said? You can type, I think, on chat and choose your answers. We're going to do a couple of quizzes like this going forward. So if you can type what you think, I can play it again if you think you got missed it.
That's how ours is.
Can you get what she said? Okay. She said this.
That's how ours is.
And it's really, really hard, right? Especially for not native English speaking people. It means you try Cortana, you try Alexa, you try Shri and all. and you will see, right, that this is hard problem. And that's what we have solved, right? The second in that is machine translation to human parity. What that means is that there are a lot of languages in the world and we have to translate them. And this is very important. Like, I love like what Microsoft or what the technology here enables us to do, because like if we have to bring the best of us and allow people to understand where we came from, we have to allow them to read what our culture is, what our history is, in a way that we have written it. And that's our language. And if you see, like, this is a machine translation, human parity, and this is a conversion. I'm not going to tell you which one is what. I would love you to read it and guess which one is done by the human and which one is done by the machine. So if you look at this, right, so I will make it easy. So if you look at this, the first one is done by the machine and we have human parity. And if you look at this, right, both of them got the name wrong, right? Because the name of the athlete is Simon Biles. And if you know a little bit of Chinese, there is L word is very hard in Chinese and there's no word for that, right? So even a person who is doing the transcription from Chinese to human, Chinese to English is going to make the same mistake. Like they said bears, the machine said buyers. But that tells you that it is human parity, not perfection. So we are the machine is as good as humans are, but it did a great job. And now you can do this, right? And now I'll give you an idea of a product, right? I saw this when I was in Taipei. I saw when I did this demo, which is pretty cool, right? So what they have done is Cheetah Mobile delivered this product, which is a black thing you see here. And you can talk to this in your native language. So that can be Chinese, Japanese, and I think they support Korean also, obviously. You can hear it in that different language. So you know that you're talking to somebody who speaks English, let's say, or German. You can just speak in your native language and they will hear in German, they respond in German, and you will hear back in Chinese. So now people visiting places can see this. And here is an opportunity for you, right? Because we have the translation service from Hindi. And man, who doesn't want to come to India and talk to people in their language and talk to people who really are the real people, not just the guides or the people who drive them around in Uber. And now if you make a product like that, which is pretty much simple, the tech is already there, you can empower more people to communicate better. So that's the opportunity in front of you. And each of these are opportunities. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them as we go forward. The speech synthesis, which is like the way you can use my voice and you can read something the same way. And I have done this so as well, and you could not distinguish. So let me play that and you will know. So I'm going to play this and the computer is going to read these two sentences. And one of this is never said by that person. The machine just learned how that person talks and said these two words. So
as the name suggests, the original submarines came from Yugoslavia. This is easy enough if you have an unfinished attic directly above the bathroom.
Can you just tell me which one is machine generated and which one is actually said by the person? Again, use your chat window. I will look at these later, but I will make it easy. I will give you 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this one is generated by machine. It was never said by that person. And as you know, right, you have got a wild guess, right? There was no differentiation. That's what speech synthesis is. And this is right there, right? And what's it allowing people to do? So this is another example, but I was thinking of other example when I was talking earlier about this is there are a lot of books out there, right? So imagine like if we can teach it. I read this book about, I don't know whether it's popular now or not. It's called Wings of Fire by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And it was an amazing book, but now it's audiobooks. And wouldn't it be awesome if somebody read that to me in his own voice? And that's possible with speech synthesis. So this is another idea out there, right? And that's what we are doing in Beijing. with this story that we have, where we have trained the voice of Lena. Lena is blind, and she is like a pioneer in her field, where she has this training podcast for blind. I'm going to let her tell her own story, but you will see one application of this technology right now applied. So another video, watch it, 2 minutes.
我是董丽娜，10岁那年，我完全失明了。现在，我是一名播音员，也是一名语言艺术培训师，在红单单帮助更多的师长朋友学习朗诵和播音主持。在给予他们知识的同时，我也特别希望能够给他们带来更多的机会，让他们可以去选择不一样的人生。在多年的学习和教学经历之中，我深深地感受到，适合视障人士学习的书籍太少了。幸运的是，通过微软公司的语音技术，我用自己的录音样本定制了一个人工智能的声音。这个声音很好地复现了我本人的音色。我们也在微软的帮助下，设置了这个声音的使用方法。现在，我们可以通过这个声音来朗读适合视障人士聆听的各种书籍。通过红单单的积木图书馆，这些有声书可以发放到全国105所盲校，让更多的视障朋友可以借助他们来学习。我希望用我的人工智能声音帮助到更多的盲人朋友。我想跟所有的视障人士说一句：要相信你自己的潜能，永远比你想象中更强大。
The other one is, which is coming up real awesome right now, is Q&A. So here, what machines can do is they can read a paragraph and answer questions. And they don't only answer questions, they can even tell you a reasoning behind that. So remember, there is a comprehension in our English, like 3rd, 4th standard. Machines are able to do that. And Microsoft has Q&A, which is human parity now. So imagine there is a manual out there in every car out there. And if you can just take that and put it into Q&A, and now you can train this Alexa or Cortana or whatever skill that you use, Google, and you can put your product out there as a skill, which is basically, if you are in a Maruti 800 or Maruti, sorry, that was past, sorry, I'm old timer, 800. So a Maruti one, which is like, and I will tell you how you can put your own Alexa also, but you can just build this skill, put it out there, and rather than asking like, hey, where is, you can, rather than reading the whole manual to figure out where this, what does this engine sign mean, you can just ask the question and AI will do it for you. So this is the opportunity in front of you. And if you look at this conversation Q&A data set, Microsoft has human parity on that, and all these services I'm talking about. So there is general language understanding, and we focused on the WinGuard NLI. There is a lot of, these are the lot of data sets out there. And if you look at that, right, here what you are able to do is, here they test the computer that if they're trying to see if you are understanding, the computer is understanding this. And how they do it is they switch the words and then they ask you the question again. So how they do it is that you look at this and they say, they advocated and who is they? And it's easy, like you can say, okay, these are the demonstrators. But what they do quickly is they change it, just a one word, and it's very, very hard. It's very easy for us as humans. It's very hard for machines to figure this out unless they have a huge level of intelligence in them. If they do that, then the computer is able to say the city council. And how Microsoft has achieved all this, right? So you remember I talked about those 7 features like prices, ear belt, number of bathrooms. Those are the features. If you take those features, put them here on the left-hand side, a natural language processing machine learning model is built on around the first one, it was good. AI 12 was like an awesome one, which was the beginning of NLP for everybody. These are deep neural networks. So this is like, was trained on 94 million. And then this was Google AI. Bert was a Microsoft researcher who joined Google. And this is the standard, right? This is a hugely popular. Most of the NLP, natural language processes using BERT large, 340 million. And then Microsoft published a smaller one, which were more efficient. And you see that's the accuracy for that was better and more efficient with 330 million MTDNN. This year, February, Microsoft published Turing NLG, which is the largest model created in the history of humanity with 17 billion parameters. And we are able to train that. And this is the model that has taken all the NLP and beaten everybody on the NLP game. So that's what this presentation or any presentation have for you to go learn. We don't only build these models, we go and train them or use them on our own applications. So when you look at Azure AI or Azure Machine Learning, it is a machine learning that is very well tested on our own product. We never use it on, we never use anybody else's data, but we train and test on our own data. So if you look at like, there are 1 billion PowerPoint designer slides. So there's an awesome feature in PowerPoint. I'm going to show you that in a second. That allows you to design, and that uses AI behind the scene. There are 80 million personalized experiences which we deliver through Xbox, where we figure out how you play your game, and we will tell you that, okay, this is the next one for you. There is 1.8 million hours of meeting on Microsoft Teams, and we use AI on each and every one of them. So we have applied that research, and this is what we have got. To show you that, right, let me show you. One thing you can do is you can take this slide and always try this, right? This is an awesome way to build stuff. So just take design ideas. And now Microsoft is suggesting you some of the design idea based on this slide. It is saying, hey, you could have put it like this. You could have put it like this. I used this designer for this. That's why it's looking perfect. So that's one application. But another cool one, which I love to show, is if you go to slideshow and you can enable subtitles on any presentation. And in subtitle settings, you can choose, okay, you can convert your English, which I'm going to speak. So I'm going to say, I'm going to speak in English, and I will say United States just to be cool. And not UK because I don't have the accent. And I will just convert that to Hindi, right? So I chose Hindi and I'm done. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna start a presentation from our slide, which is this one, right? So now if I go back and I start my slide, it's listening and it starts telling you what I am saying in English into Hindi. So this is where you are seeing the applications. And now I can go and do this presentation to native speakers and they will be able to get what I am saying. So this is what a technology in like research and technology in application looks like. So there are 20,000 Azure AI customer last month, just last month. And if you're looking at 85% of Fortune 500 companies are using Azure AI. So you are in a good company if you go and build these. So how are this coming together from Microsoft, right? What you need to go learn. So this is Microsoft platforms, right? Which is we have Azure, which is our cloud, and it's in 58 regions, gives you all that. It has data, compute, Azure machine learning, and then cognitive services. I'm going to talk about these. This is vision, speech, language, decision. And here you can just take that and use it as is. And then we make it scenario specific. We even go one step further. We don't leave it to you at cognitive. We are solving problems like form recognizer. Here, a video indexer where we can index the whole video. So video is the new format of communication. And if you can find out where the content in that particular video, which an interest to somebody is, that's a huge thing to have. And Video Indexer does that exactly. So if you are looking for a YouTube video and you just want to know machine learning tutorial, you need not to hear anything else but that. You can build an app on top of it and start serving right now today without knowing anything on AI. And how are you going to do that? So if you look at that, Microsoft has built AI Builder, a power platform where you can build on top of all this without writing a lot of code. So these are no code or very, very small code experiences which you can use and build apps, build Power BI dashboards, build automations across companies, which is just drag and drop. So it's no more the barrier, as Pro-host sir said, that it's not only for computer science anymore. So if you're going to do any of this, I would ask you for a computer science degree, right? If you're going to build a machine learning algorithm, if you're going to take a complex algorithm and build a cognitive service, man, you will need a computer fundamental knowledge. But if you're going to do any of this, no need. And this is going to allow you to build everything for scenarios which you just saw. So focus on that. And that's where I bring to you, like, okay, I talk a lot about Microsoft. We are so cool. This is so cool. What can you actually do? So first thing I really want you to do is, here is an AI business school. Here there are really cool case studies and tells you how AI is used in different verticals. I really want you to go there and learn. So this is the first one. I want you to go get started. So if you already know, skip this and jump to this one where you can learn. This is Microsoft Power App or the AI Builder experience. And these are Power App. You can just start learning. And this is a 30 minutes module. It teaches you how you can use the AI Builder, build a model and deploy. And it will be drag and drop. No line of code. You will be building an awesome model which can find things on a shelf of a retail store, which is pretty cool if you think about it. So go, and these are the two things I really want you to do, which is go finish this course, very small, like I think this is a small one, and then go and build some apps. And you can build a model, put it in a phone app as a Power App, and now you can start doing demos for your startups. Now you can start building on your ideas and showing these automation things, what is possible out there. So that's what the first section is. So if you followed me correctly, you should be able to update your LinkedIn profile or your CV, and you will be able to start your own startup or join a machine learning company if you did just this much. Now I'm going to talk about the cognitive services, one layer below Power Apps. And this is where you see how we are using the same and how the companies are using these ideas. So I told you how you can build it. I'm going to show you some examples of how companies are building on Microsoft platform and serving real customers. So the first story I'm going to talk about is the form story. So as we talked about, we have a form recognizer service, and man, if you know one country where forms are everywhere, it's India. I can't say I've been to, like, I don't know, a lot of countries now, but India, man, forms are everywhere. Everything is a form. Even joining this session, I think we asked you to fill a form. And forms have insights. So Swati ma'am needs these insights. And straightforward idea, you can take all these forms and put them and extract the information by using just simple API calls. No machine learning, just send a request up, get the result down. Chevron has done that, and there is a case study on that where they have taken all their client reports, they put it in a function where form recognizer takes their form, and if it doesn't know anything, it just asks the person. So it says, oh, I could not find this one particular thing. The person says, oh, this is this. It takes that, learns it, puts it in data store, and Swati ma'am here, if on a Chevron floor, can see what is there, what is What are the insights coming from each and every document, each and every review, each and every inspection of a factory floor? And this is day to day in these factories. And who built it? A third-party company. And that's that story, right? UiPath built it for Chevron. Chevron is not building it. So UiPath built it for Chevron, and you could be the next UiPath because it's so simple, but you have to do it. And then you have to market it. And then you can start small in your areas, in your university itself, or your home, I would say. Just put all your forms together and put a dashboard and try to find information in there. That would be a good start. So this is what Chevron did.
Chevron has a long history of utilizing technology in our business. We need answers quicker than we used to and more complex answers. So we're turning to technology to help us with that.
Here in Canada, we have hundreds of rigs running, and every day that there's an operation, there's a report generated. You can see hundreds to thousands of reports daily. It's PDF data that is very complex. It's coming in many different types and qualities and structure, including tables that are embedded. So our current process is to take this big data from PDF and manually extract it. The time and resources it takes looking at data and getting that into a usable format is phenomenal. With MyPath and Microsoft, we've managed to work through the challenge dealing with data.
RPA's robotic process automation is about being able to take those tasks that humans typically do inside a large enterprise and automate those on a highly repetitive basis. Form Recognizer and RPA allows us to be able to quickly take data from documents and convert it into a format that can be used for further business insights and knowledge management. One of the breakthroughs of the Form Recognizer service is the ability to just look at a small sample set of documents and quickly take out key value pair information in a common standardized form that can feed back in systems or data environments that are used for further analysis. We're deeply embedding the service in our platform to allow all different types of documents to easily be extracted throughout an enterprise environment. So we think that's key for making both our platform and our service capabilities extensible for our clients as well as on a global level.
The prize isn't the data. The prize is what I'm going to do with the data. It just kind of makes me smile to think about what possibilities I could look at. With this technology, we can widen our aperture on our business and make decisions faster for sure, and help us to guarantee that we're headed in the direction we want to be as the number one energy company.
So I played this one really fast. I think you were still able to make it. I just played it at like 90%. Please let me know in chat, and Swati, please interrupt me if you don't like that speed. We can always play them. The second example is Allstate. Allstate is an insurance provider in the United States, and they have used machine learning, what we just talked about, to improve their customer calls. So what they do is they take all the customers' speech to text. So first time you got into an accident, you call their call center, and we convert the speech to text. And then now there is a whole story. Okay, I was going here, this car came from here, it hit me, it gave me these, my bumper is broken. And now you can just, and you know, right, if you ever called a call center, the call goes through like 5 different people before it even reach the right person. But now using speech to text, he need not to repeat it. And if his sentiments are really bad, if he's going through a lot, we can identify that. And we can even escalate his calls to a different direction, which is what Allstate has done using the same technology. Again, there is a partner who built it for them. So you could be that. I'm going to skip this video just to be on time. So maybe we will watch it later. So you saw like there are 5 billion transactions per month on Azure Cognitive Services. So there are people like you who are building these services and serving their community, solving real problems. As engineers, this is our soul, right? We look at the world as a set of problems. And then we look at technology as the tools. And we take that tools and apply it to those problems and solve them. So 5 billion solutions every month somebody has thought through. I want you to think through the same. And I hope you can take cognitive service and build on top of it. Same is Azure bot service, right? So this is like the cognitive side of Azure, which allows you to do vision, speech, language, decision, and awesome web search. And all this is available as just an API call away. And you need not to build it. It's already built for you. You can go and have it changing the world. So all these services are available today. If anybody asks you to do any of this, look at Azure Cognitive Service, put the cognitive service out there, take their data and start solving problems. The one that are container support, you can even run them on edge. That means that these can run on your PC, can run it on a small device like Raspberry Pi, can run on your phone. So they don't even need cloud. And the one those are in dark blue, these are customizable. That means that you can retrain them on your own data, because that's what the world is. We can't train for everybody, and your data would look different. And that's where we look at a partner ecosystem or small companies or startups. So if you can just learn how you're going to tailor Microsoft Q&A Maker to your own needs or your university needs or customers out there, that's a job, that's a company, that's a need. So listen to that. Okay. We can run it on the edge, same thing. Like we have cognitive services, we have Azure bot service also. This allows you to have bots which you can interact with. So you can ask question and answer. This is on every website you go, you get this pop like, I'm Mary, can I help you? That's exactly that. And this is an open source SDK. This is a framework which is growing exponentially for us. 4K community comments, 2 million SDK downloads, and 3,000 bots created every week. So people are taking these and solving real problems, right? And there are a lot of websites out there in India who doesn't have that support. You can just go and build that and say, I'm going to offer bot services on your website for any price, right? Just ask them for the price of the service. Good start. Already there, go build it as your project. I think you can build it in 2 weeks. So you can deploy them on multiple channels. Again, power virtual agents, which I told you, you can do it. Okay. You say, okay, Mahesh, I listened to you. This was great. What should I do? Too much for me, right? Okay, let's brief it. So what can you do? On your PC right now, there is this app on Windows Store called Intelligent Kiosk. And all the demos I have showed you, all the cognitive service I have showed you is already there. So go and download this Intelligent Kiosk on your PC and get some of these apps going. So what you can do is, I just downloaded it and you can run these demos like Celebrity Match. What this is doing is it's going to take your camera, and for that, I think I need to stop my camera. We did that with Swati. So thank you, Swati, for making this work. So we're going to do it again. So we're going to take this, and hopefully you can see my screen now. And if I just take this, takes my picture, and it just looks through its database and tries to find a similar match to my face. It's just trying to look at, and it thinks I'm like Kunal Karun Kapoor, which I don't know who he is, but seems like somebody cool. So, but these are small things, but you see the tech behind them, right? Similarly, I loved this small kiosk demo where you can go and you can build a customized app for a company where you can say, hey, if a user comes to you and if he is of this age, if you look at the settings, you can just modify this XML file where you can say, if the age detected of a person, then show this URL. You know, I did this in Africa, you know, this is like 4 or 5 years back now. I was there, I didn't know anything about cognitive services. I applied, I took this and I said, great, I'm gonna do this demo for you. This is MSN, like big provider there. And what I did is I took their website and I figured these link out and I just replaced these links. And I did a demo. I asked everybody to come in, take a picture. And when they took a picture like this, we identified their age. And when we identify their age, that product recommendation came here. So all this could be built here. They have an awesome one where you can find a driver distracted scenario. And all that what I showed you is there, right? Emotional match, how old are you? And there is an awesome one which is about finding like, am I driving or sleeping? Video indexer. So use them. And when you use them, just be aware that all that code is also available. So it's not like this is like a thing which only we could write, you can just take that code and use it in your app, build just that particular scenario, that mall scenario, and publish it as a product. So here is the code. Here is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you say, Mahesh, I don't like your models. I really don't like your models, right? And I looked at this problem like 2 years ago. I said, people are not going to take our models. I was visiting Anuj at that time, and I saw an awesome thing, that a cardboard thing that was built by Google at that time. It was a camera, and they were saying you can build your own model and deploy. I said, pretty cool, right? And then I came back at Microsoft and I pitched the idea. I was lucky enough that Microsoft gave me this opportunity, and we built this, which is a Vision AI dev kit. This is a camera that out of box allows you to build machine learning models and deploy on them. You can train it with your own data and deploy it, and it runs on the edge. Data never leaves. The whole camera and machine learning runs on this device. So I built this like 2 years ago. We released, there is a couple of videos where I talk about how you deploy models, how you're gonna unbox. So watch these two and you can use this. But I looked at that and people gave me a lot of feedback. They said, but we don't want to buy a new camera. We already have cameras. Like every store has cameras and they are buying their own cameras. So what can you do about those cameras? So just this year, I have released this new sample. This is brand new. I'm just releasing it today for you, which is the factory AI solution. So this is how can you use a camera which is installed in a factory, train it for something that you like or what the company wants, and deploy it right there. So go through this repo. I think it's fairly simple. So if you install IoT Edge, which has a quick start guide, so install it on your PC with a Linux operating system, or take any other Linux machine, just install this and run this batch file. If you do that, what you get is, you get something like this, which you can use. So, this will be hard. Okay. So if you deploy it, it worked correctly. If it doesn't, just call me on this one, because we will support this for another 2 years. And what you can do is you get this interface, you can register a new camera. So just go in and write your camera and take the RTSP URL, which every camera, which is a network camera, gives you. Or you can just say 0 on this, and it will take your PC camera for demos. So just write 0 if you want to use your camera that is connected through USB or your inbuilt camera in your laptop. Just say 0 here. If you did that, you can just see this is my camera and it's working on a model. And now you can train a model on this. How would you do it? So let's say you want to train a part, right? So I will just take this one and I will say, I want to train a new part, because factories build part and you want to train for good or bad part, or you want to identify how many parts they have built. And now they need a model which can identify their part. What are they building? And it's not there in my cognitive services because I don't know what are they building. So you can build that for them, right? So let's say I want to build it for this speaker, and I just put a speaker in front of my camera. So you can come here, build it for your speaker, right? And what then we allow you to do is you can just select that camera, whatever company you went to. You can see the live feed from the camera itself. And I'm going to place it somewhere where you can see it. It's actually here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some pictures. So we can say capture, 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 capture. So see, you're taking pictures. Rather than using pictures from internet, you are taking a factory line pictures from the real factory. Once you have done it, all you're going to do is you're going to label your data by telling where the speaker is. And you just click save and next, save and next, save and next. And you have to do this. See, I told you repetitive work. I hate that. That's exactly what you have to do for supervised learning. So I'm going to just take this and quickly label all this data. So just bear with me, take a break while I do the hard work for you. So we're going to just label this. And you know, the real model will require like at least 100 images, but I will just show you with 20. and I will show you why this is not good. And I will show you how can you make it good. In 1 hour, you're solving a real problem for a real company. And I will show you how can you deploy it from cloud to edge and send data. So I just labeled 20 images and I told them where the speaker is. I hit save, I come here, I say, hey, instead of finding my desk bottle, find my speaker and deploy it in this location. This is a location I just registered, so you can register any location. Here you are saying, but this model needs to be retrained a lot of time because it's not going to be perfect with 20 images. So automatically you can capture the images if they are in this threshold. So I will just set that to 5 to 40. And here you are sending messages to cloud already. So whenever this thing is detected, you are sending to cloud that I saw this picture, and you not writing a single line of code. And now we are training the model for you. When the model is trained, we will go back, export the model and deploy on your edge device. It could be a CPU device. It could be a GPU based device where acceleration is possible. What that is, that machine learning models requires a lot of computational power, matrix multiplication basically, and GPUs are good at them. So that's what we do for you. You just tell us it is CPU or GPU. And if it is GPU, we will run it on GPU at a very fast speed. So if a machine is manufacturing very, very fast these parts, your model can actually catch up. So that's what the power of Azure from cloud to edge is, right? So we can come back to this because it's going to take 5 minutes or so, but that's what you can use. And this is the latest and greatest what I'm building. This is my latest thing, which I'm just giving to community to go play. All this is free, by the way. All you need is an Azure account, and Microsoft gives $150 of free Azure credit. Use that, deploy this, and you will be able to show out of box value to your customers or whoever your stakeholders are. So at this point, I want to take a pause and just say, we are here, right, in our journey now. The next is creating products which are going to scale. That's Azure Machine Learning. You can use Azure Machine Learning, which is a platform where you build like data science and real models from real data. You ingest like petabytes of data and build models. I'm going to skip this one. Just going to quickly talk about that Microsoft has this awesome thing called Azure Machine Learning, which allows companies to take their data and build machine learning models. We support all open source frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Caffe, whatever you have learned, all are supported. And this is that slide. And we also support automated learning, automation, automated ML, where you need not to, we will find the right algorithm. You just tell us how accurate you want your model to be. And this is another session. This is a bigger discussion topic. So I'm going to skip most of that. And let's check if our model is ready. And then we talk about the last thing, if you guys are still in with me. So it's still going on. So let's go back and let's talk about how are we going to scale this. So just give me 1 second. I think I lost. Again, if you have learned all this, what I just told you, what are the next steps for you, right? Few cool things. Here, there are certifications for you. So this is Microsoft certification. Go for this link, go for AI engineer and try doing these certification. Be a certified Azure ML engineer. If you can do that certification, I guarantee you that the world is waiting out there for you. It's not going to be easy, but anything that's value in the world is never easy. So that's one thing I really want you to do. I really believe in you that you will finish that. And while doing that, you will also come across these machine learning notebooks. Here is how you do Azure Machine Learning. These are published notebooks. You can just get started, play around them. This is for people who want to be choosing machine learning or data science career. These are published notebooks. There are a lot of those. There are a lot of tutorials here, so please do that. And if you've done these two, the last thing, there are open source courses. I have a lot of them in the link notes to this slide. These two I really recommend. And once you have done this much, Kaggle is an awesome platform where there are competitions, so join some, solve some real problems, test your data science skills. And once you have done, then I'm also running a platform where me and some of my friends and my